from people cast aside from the field, living with regret, failure, and unfinished dreams. The replacements turned them into the craziest squad ever to step out under the lights of the Washington Sentinels. Released in 2000, the film is not only about football, but also about the last chance for those who seemed past their prime. 26 years later, where is that cast now? And how have their lives changed? Number 1. Keanu Reeves as Shane Falco. There are people born to fail in the eyes of the crowd, yet fate preserves them for their most glorious moment. And Shane Falco is exactly that kind of soul through the face of Keanu Reeves. In 2000, when the film was released, Keanu was 36 years old, just stepping out from the enormous shadow of the Matrix, carrying the perfect loneliness for a quarterback haunted by the nickname Footsteps Falco. In the film, Shane appears on a small boat, living quietly like a man running from his Sugar Bowl past, before Coach McGinty pulls him back onto the field at the moment the Washington Sentinels collapse because of the strike. Every stretch of the film is another layer of pressure tightening around him, from the media's mockery, Eddie Martel's contemptuous stare, to the painful fall in the opening game, before gradually becoming a true leader through cold and decisive throws. His climax lies not only in the deciding playoff game, but also in the moment he dares to face the fear of failure that once buried him. The role stands out because Keanu turns Falco into a symbol of second chances, a man of few words but immense inner strength. In real life, after the film, Keanu continued into legend with John Wick, while his life was shadowed by the tragedy of losing his child in 1999 and the death of his girlfriend Jennifer Syme in 2001. Creating an emotional depth that made audiences see Falco as part of Keanu's real life. In 2026, Keanu is 61 years old, still highly active, private, and beloved as a symbol of endurance. Shane Falco, therefore, is not just a football role, but the memory of a man who fell so he could learn how to rise again. Number 2. Gene Hackman as Coach Jimmy McGinty. Without ever needing to run on the field, Jimmy McGinty is still the strongest beating heart of the replacements, because Gene Hackman enters the film like an old general returning for one final battlefield. When the film was released in 2000, Hackman was 70 years old, bringing all of his seasoned gravitas to turn McGinty into a coach who is both gruff and deeply insightful. He first appears through Owner O'Neill's summons, then begins the journey of gathering people abandoned by football. The fallen Falco, the hot-headed Bateman, the eccentric Gruff, the undisciplined Franklin. Step by step through the film, McGinty does not just arrange a lineup, but restores their self-respect. From the first chaotic practice, the jailhouse fight, to the speech that makes the whole team realize they are fighting for the chance of a lifetime. Lines that feel almost prophetic about the man you are and the man you were meant to become lift the role beyond the usual sports coach archetype. In real life, after the film, Gene Hackman almost completely withdrew from Hollywood, living privately and focusing on writing novels. The greatest turning point was his passing in 2025 at the age of 95, closing one of the greatest careers in cinematic history. In 2026, McGinty therefore carries an added layer of special nostalgia. Every stern look, every short line of the film now feels like a belated farewell from Hackman himself. He did not just guide a replacement team, but reminded viewers that the forgotten sometimes create the most unforgettable victories of their lives. Number 3. Brooke Langton as Annabelle Farrell. Amid the brutal collisions of helmets and the suffocating tension of each play, Annabelle Farrell enters like a soft breath that keeps the film from being only a sports story. And Brooke Langton made that deeply cinematic. In 2000, Brooke was 30 years old, at the height of her beauty and presence, bringing the image of a cheerleader captain who is both alluring and intelligent. Annabelle is not simply Shane Falco's romantic storyline, but the character who sees the real man behind his shell of failure. From their hesitant first meeting, the boat trip, to the moment she believes in Shane, even when the media and the stands doubt him. Annabelle becomes the emotional anchor that helps Falco overcome the ghosts of his past. The role stands out because Brooke does not make the character merely the pretty cheerleader, but turns her into a symbol of faith and second chances. After the film, Brooke continued appearing in television and film, but did not explode into superstardom as expected, which in part made her career become a beautiful but quiet mystery. Her private life has remained fairly discreet, with no major scandals, which only helps preserve Annabelle's original gentle charm in the audience's memory. In 2026, Brooke Langton is 56 years old, still remembered most for this role, along with the very distinctive beauty of early 2000s American cinema. Looking back at Annabelle today, people do not only remember a romance on the sidelines, but also the eyes of the woman who saw a champion in a man once called a failure by the whole world. Number 4. Orlando Jones as Clifford Franklin. There are characters who do not need much screen time at the beginning to steal every cheer, and Clifford Franklin is that kind of whirlwind thanks to Orlando Orlando Jones's explosive energy. In 2000, Orlando Jones was 32 years old, at the perfect stage where his comic timing and verbal speed had fully matured, turning Franklin into an electrifying wide receiver and one of the funniest players on the Washington Sentinels. From the moment McGinty assembles him, Franklin brings a rebellious spirit mixed with cocky confidence, and that very trait becomes the spark for the replacement lineup. Throughout the film, he evolves from a player who only knows how to show off his speed into an indispensable tactical piece for Shane Falco, especially in lightning-fast routes, high-pressure catches, and the iconic moment when he creates his own rhythm with a touchdown dance that sends the stadium into eruption. What makes the role stand out is not only the humor, but the way Franklin represents the spirit of no one believes in us. So we have to play crazier than everyone else. After the film, Orlando remained strongly remembered through television and witty roles, though his career also had slower periods as he shifted toward producing and voice acting. There were no major personal scandals, yet the fact that he never had another film role that surpassed Franklin only made the character even more iconic. In 2026, Orlando Jones is 58 years old. Still, the face audiences remember whenever they talk about the most spectacular scene, stealing supporting characters in early 2000s sports films. Number 5. Jon Favreau as Daniel Bateman. If The Replacements is a machine of chaos, then Daniel Bateman is its loudest roaring engine, and Jon Favreau poured into it an energy that is both dangerous and addictive. When the film was released in 2000, Favreau was 34 years old, not yet the Marvel mastermind, but he already possessed the presence of an actor who knew how to turn madness into a signature. Bateman enters the replacement lineup like a ticking bomb, hot-tempered, aggressive, always ready to charge into a collision before thinking. From the first recruitment session, the locker room destruction, to the jail fight scene to rescue his teammates, Bateman embodies the primal instinct that McGinty must tame into winning force. The character's climax comes when the rage that once ruined his career becomes the very energy that helps the team hold its spirit in the most crucial game. This role stands out because Jon Favreau makes Bateman more than just the crazy tough guy, but the hottest heart of the team, a man who fights for his brothers with pure instinct. After the film, Favreau's life turned legendary, directing Iron Man, laying the foundation for the MCU, then achieving massive success with The Mandalorian. The biggest drama was not personal scandal, but the pressure of becoming the architect of a modern entertainment empire. In 2026, Jon Favreau is 59 years old, at the height of creative power in Hollywood, and looking back at Bateman, audiences can almost see the first sketch of the strong personality that would shape one of the most powerful filmmakers in the world. Number 6. Rhys Ifans as Nigel the Leg Gruff. Not the quarterback, not the coach, yet sometimes the one remembered forever is the man who walks onto the field with a cigarette, a strange Welsh voice, and the kick that decides the fate of the entire team. Nigel Gruff is that kind of beautifully insane cinematic force through Rhys Ifans. In 2000, Ifans was 33 years old, bringing his uniquely eccentric presence to turn a kicker into one of the most beloved cult characters in the film. Nigel appears like an enigma, careless, slightly drunk, full of lines no one can predict. But the moment he steps onto the field, he possesses legs capable of changing the outcome of the game. Each layer of the film pushes Nigel from the image of a bizarre foreign oddball into a quiet hero, especially in field goal moments stretched as tight as piano wire, where the entire stadium holds its breath waiting for a kick from the leg. What makes the role unforgettable is the beautiful contrast between his unstable exterior and his absolute precision in the moments the team needs him most. After the film, Rhys Ifans continued to break out with eccentric, iconic roles, from Notting Hill to the villain in The Amazing Spider-Man. His personal life also drew attention because of his high-profile romance with Sienna Miller and a few stories of excessive partying, making Nigel's image feel even more blended with the man himself. In 2026, Rhys Ifans is 59 years old, still one of the most distinctive actors in Britain. Nigel therefore is not just a final kick, but proof that the strangest people sometimes create the most perfect moments. Number 7. Faizon Love as Jamal Jackson. He may not be the one scoring the final touchdown, but sometimes the soul of a football team lies in the man standing on the front line, absorbing collisions so his teammates can shine, and Jamal Jackson carries exactly that weight through Faizon Love. In 2000, Faizon was 32 years old, bringing an imposing physique and his trademark comedic charm to make Jamal one of the most memorable pieces of the replacement team. In the film, Jamal steps onto the field like a living wall, creating laughs with his bold exchanges while also serving as the raw strength that gives Falco time to make decisive throws. From the first chaotic practice, the loud celebrations in the locker locker room, to the moments of locking down Dallas's defense in the final game. Jamal always stands as the symbol of standing strong for your brothers. The role stands out because Faizon turns a lineman with fewer lines into a character carrying real emotional weight. No glamour, no showmanship, just relentless fighting. After the film, Faizon continued succeeding with streetwise American comedy roles, though he also had a few minor legal controversies related to real-life altercations, which only made his tough image feel even closer to Jamal. In 2026, Faizon Love is 58 years old, still remembered as a supporting face capable of making audiences laugh with just a single look. Jamal, therefore, is a reminder that behind every glorious victory, there are always quiet heroes who never appear on the scoreboard but keep the whole team standing. Number 8. Keith David as Lindell. Among a team full of rebels, Lindell emerges as the deepest steady rhythm, and Keith David covers the character with a leadership presence that never needs to shout. In 2000, Keith David was 44 years old, and the maturity of his craft made every line feel like an oath spoken in the locker room. Lindell is not the player the camera favors most, but every appearance is tied to the team's stability, keeping the brotherhood intact, pulling hot heads back onto the right paths, and protecting unity when pressure from the media and returning starters closes in. By the later stages of the film, Lindell's role as the invisible backbone becomes even clearer, a veteran who keeps the replacement team from falling apart in chaos. What makes the role memorable is the real-life depth Keith David brings. Calm, seasoned, like a warrior who has endured enough collisions to understand the value of one final chance. After the film, he continued steadily across film, television, and especially legendary voice acting, becoming one of the most distinctive voices in Hollywood. His personal life has remained remarkably free of scandal, something rare for such a long career. In 2026, Keith David is 69 years old, still highly active and respected as a monument of vocal performance. Lindell, therefore, is the kind of character who never needs explosive moments, yet becomes more unforgettable with every passing year, like the emotional anchor of the entire film. Number 9. Jack Warden as Edward O'Neill. Every storm begins with a single decision, and in The Replacements, that decision comes from Edward O'Neill, the aging owner who sees opportunity in chaos through Jack Warden's performance. When the film was released in 2000, Warden was 80 years old, bringing a rare veteran gravitas that turns O'Neill into the man who sets the entire domino effect in motion. He is the one who brings McGinty back, accepting the gamble of replacement players while the entire league is in turmoil because of the strike. O'Neill's role in the film is not about screen time, but the weight of every appearance. A single nod enough to change the fate of the whole team, a belief placed in people everyone else underestimated. After the film, this also became one of Jack Warden's final memorable roles before he passed away in 2006 at the age of 85, closing a career that lasted more than half a century. In 2026, looking back, O'Neill feels like the image of executives willing to bet on what nobody else dares to believe. Jack Warden's story after the film holds no loud scandals, only the lasting respect for a veteran actor who left a deep mark even in the briefest moments on screen. Edward O'Neill, therefore, is a deeply cinematic reminder that sometimes the person who changes history is not the one scoring, but the one bold enough to make the decision when everything seems to be collapsing. Number 10. Troy Winbush as Walter Cochran. If the replacement team is a symphony of forgotten lives, Walter Cochran is the steady note that keeps the entire group in rhythm, and Troy Winbush brings a grounded certainty to the role. In 2000, Troy was 30 years old, young enough to carry vibrant energy, yet seasoned enough to make Walter feel like a dependable link. In the film, Walter is not the loudest player, but he remains constantly present throughout the team's most important collective moments. From the chaotic lineup finally being brought together, the practices under media pressure, to the final game where every member must play as if it were the last chance of a lifetime. That constant presence makes Walter represent the spirit of the team more than almost any individual. After the film, Troy Winbush continued working steadily in American television, building a stable career without being surrounded by personal scandal. In 2026, he is 56 years old, still the model of the quiet but enduring supporting actor across decades. Walter, therefore, does not need a private spotlight moment. His strength lies in always being there, like the people in real life who never need much recognition but keep the whole machine running until the very final second. From Shane Falco to Walter Cochran, they were not just replacement players, but memories of second chances, belief, and the triumph of the forgotten. 26 years later, The Replacement still reminds us, legends sometimes begin with the people who seem the most ordinary.